Here's a known Baal Shem Tov story. Once there was a pupil of the Baal Shem Tov. I know I told you another story that begins this way, but this is a different story. Once there was a pupil of Baal Shem Tov that was requested by the Baal Shem Tov. Now, Baal Shem Tov was a man called Yisrael Baal Shem. That was his name. Yisrael Baal Shem. He lived about 300 years ago in the Ukraine. He was a very, very holy Jew. He knew a lot of secrets, Kabbalah secrets, and this, but his whole idea was to spread Judaism, that every Jew should be woken up. This is the Mashiach told him that if you want to bring Mashiach, if you want me to come, he asked the Mashiach, when are you going to come? He said, when your teachings are spread out. So that's the idea of Chassidut Chabad, of Chassidut in general, but especially Chabad. So he took one of his pupils aside, and he told him, I want you to go to get on a ship and go to India or some faraway place, India. And if anybody asks you, how are things back in the Ukraine, in Europe with the Jews? So you have to tell them it's terrible and we need Mashiach immediately. So, okay, no problem. So he gets on the ship. And as to be expected in the Baal Shem Tov stories, after 5 or 5 days, the ship sinks. But unlike the previous story I told you, this person manages to make it to shore. And he searches through he's searching for food, and he sees this little hut. He looks in the hut. He's hungry, he's tired, it's getting cold. A little hut, and he's worried about wild animals, about this. He's never been in such a place before. And he looks in the window of the hut. He thinks, well, listen, maybe it's robbers or something. And there's this old Jew sitting, and he's learning Torah. Old Jew sitting. So he knocks on the door. The old Jew answers the door. He almost, come in, what are you doing outside? He almost faints. He gives him some food. He gives him what to eat. And he asks him what happened. He told him, listen, I was sent here by the Baal Shem Tov, and he sent me to India, but the whole ship sank. And now I'm over here. I don't know what to do. So the old man said, listen, there's no problem. Let's go. First of all, we have to see what we can do. First of all, as far as sleeping goes and eating goes, I have food here. I have a place to sleep. And let's go to the shore. There's ships that pass by. We'll make a big fire. We'll make a big pile of wood, and we'll put next to the pile of wood a constant fire that'll be going all the time, a little fire. And when we see a ship in the distance, as we'll take from the small fire, we'll lit this big bonfire, and we'll make smoke, and we'll make signs, and they'll come and they'll save you. So he said, okay. So he sits with this old man a day, 2 days. Meanwhile, they're learning Torah together. Mostly they're learning ideas on Kabbalah and things like that, but it's very enjoyable. They're sitting and learning. All of a sudden, the old man says, I think I sense that there's a ship. Let's run out and see. And they run out, and sure enough, far away, there's a ship. Immediately they take from this small fire, which they've been keeping this small fire going all these 4 or 5 days, or a week, however long. And they take from the small fire, they lit the big fire, and they covered it with a blanket, and they let it go. There's smoke signals. And sure enough, this big ship sends a little dinghy out, a little small boat, and it comes to the shore. And he says, okay, now you can go with this. You can go back. If he asked them, where are you going? They said, we're going to Ukraine. We're going back to the Ukraine. That's back to where he came from. They said, okay, get in. What do you care? Get in. The Baal Shem Tov will give you money for another. You can't wait for a ship to go to India. Maybe they'll never be. We'll go back to the Ukraine. You'll tell the Baal Shem Tov everything that happened. Oh, thank you. He said, thank you. You're so good. You saved my life over here on this island. And who would ever dream I would find a Jew sitting over? He says, hey, wait a second. Why don't you come with me? Come with me. He said, no, I can't come with you. I have things to do here. I've got things to do here. But you just get in the boat and you go. When my time is right, then I'll come with you. He pushes the boat off. And he yells to him and says, hey, but by the way, how are things over there in the Ukraine? He said, thank God. I'm so grateful that you saved me. And thank God I'm going to the Baal Shem Tov. And thank God, Jews are learning Torah and things are, there's the hardships and difficulties, but thank God for what we've got. And he pushes them off. So the ship sure enough goes back, and it docks right near the Baal Shem Tov is. So he gets off the, it's a week journey. He goes to the Baal Shem Tov, and the Baal Shem Tov says, "No, where were you?" He said, "Well, the ship sank." He says, "Good." The Baal Shem Tov said, "Good." He said, "Tell me, did anybody ask you how things are in the Ukraine?" He said, "Oh, yes, yes. Someone asked me." So the Baal Shem Tov said, "Well, what did you tell him?" He said, I forgot what you told me to say. I just said, thank God, we have to thank God all the time, right? So I said, thank God, Jews are learning Torah. I said, things are difficult, but we're overcoming it." And the Baal Shem Tov said, that Jew was Abraham. And he comes in every generation to ask somebody how the situation is by the Jews. And if you would have said, it's terrible, you would have said what I said, to say it's terrible, we need Mashiach immediately, then he would have gone and reported in the upper heavens and brought Mashiach now. But because you weren't thinking about Mashiach, and because you didn't do what I say, so it looks like we're going to have to wait until the next opportunity. So from this we learn that we always have to desire Mashiach now.